Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today we are looking at the Stuka. So, this was first designed in 2530 for the Starleague Defense Force. The Stuka was meant for prolonged battle, boasting 30 single heat sinks that would allow it to stay in the fight for a lot longer. Though somewhat outgunned by some medium fighters, it has 15 tons of armor, which gives it superior protection. And its Monitor 200 guidance system gives it the maneuverability of a medium fighter. Mostly used by the Federated Suns, thanks to their monopoly on its construction. The Stuka has proven to be a thorn in the side of House Creative Forces on many occasions. Lycom Davian Introtech originally manufactured the Stuka from their facilities on Demeter, uh, I don't know exactly how to pronounce that correctly, along with a number of other designs. In 2795, the Compellian Confederation destroyed the Demeter facilities in an attempt to deny the armed forces of the Federated Suns supplies of the Stukas. While the Compellian Confederation Armed Forces strike was successful, the Confederation was unaware that their overall goal wasn't met by Lycom Davian Introtech were constructing a second manufacturing facility on New Avalon and was well on its way to being complete. Because of the similarities in the design, the Stuka has on occasionally been mistaken for a Lightning, a mistake which has been proven to be a deadly one. All right, so weapons and equipment. So the Stuka carries a mix of weaponry, a Simpson LRM 20 rack, a Holly SRM 4, and a Martel medium laser, rounding out the payload in the nose. The wing mounted two Exostar large lasers, each with two medium lasers facing the rear. Okay, so we have the Stuka 6D, a variant created by the newly created Federated Commonwealth, which introduces recovered Starleague technology into the design. Based on the K5, the fighter's weaponry gets an additional two LRM 20s in each wing and 2 tons of ammunition. The nose launcher is replaced with a pair of SRM 6s with 4 tons of ammo. The fighter's engine is replaced with an XL model, and it drops 10 of its single heat sinks to upgrade the remaining ones to double strength heat sinks. We have the D7. This variant introduces technology that would that was conceived by the Fedcom Civil War, using the D6 as a base design. The two LRM 20 launchers were replaced with AC5s with 2 tons of ammunition. The large lasers were completely replaced with 9 medium lasers, three placed in each wing, one mounted in the nose with the LRM 20, and two SRM 6s, and two facing aft. All of the D7 launchers have been enhanced, fitted with the Artemis 4 guidance system. The ship boasts 21 double heat sinks to counter the massive heat the weapons produce. Then we have the K5B. This variant replaces the large lasers with a pair of ERPPCs in each wing, except for the pair of medium lasers covering the rear. The other weapons are replaced with a nose-mounted AC-20 and medium laser to deal with enemies who come in close. 3 tons of autocannon ammunition keep this version in the fight for a long time before it needs to return to base to reload. To keep heat levels manageable, the single heat sinks were upgraded to double strength models. Then we have the K10. This variant replaced the three medium lasers and two extra single heat sinks to four Exostar small lasers, and is mostly seen in the Draconius March militia. We also have a K15. This variant, which only saw limited production, reduced the armor by 3 tons and adding six small lasers. Um, and then looking here at all the different designs, starting off here, uh, this is from the 3025 book. I don't know who that artist is. it's like Jetic or something. Uh, what it looks like. Oh, okay. It says David R. Dietrich. So it's kind of nice to see that, in and amongst all the artists that had drawn for FASA back in the day, it is kind of nice to see how that all went. And this is a little bit better rescan of that that I think was done in one of the other books. Um, Hardware Handbutch Source 137. Um, and this is from the revised, so they kind of a stripped down version of it. And in one of the novelizations, I think, if I can get it to come up, here we are with a couple different fighters. So we have a Stuka in the front. I think that's a Sparrowhawk. I'm not clear as to what this one is offhand. I just don't remember. And there's a part of me that says that that's a Shylone, but I can't remember correctly if I'm thinking of it right or wrong. So just I'll take that with a grain of salt. And I think this is the original picture that we got for the Stuka when it was actually colorized. And of course, then we have an aerospace pilot here, an outline of a Marauder, all nicely done here. And yes, by David Dietrich here. So, okay. Now, again, these aren't cheap fighters. These come in at 6,156,000 sea bills. Um, you know, but it is on par with a lot of the fighter craft that we see today. I mean, we're talking about what fifth gen fighter craft that are coming in at some 20 some $1 million in today's military. So, um, in that regard, these are fairly inexpensive. But to think of it, this is all designed from back in the 80s. So 6 million was a lot of money. So to sit here and say that in the Galactic Sea bills, Comstar bills, that was a lot of money to come up with back at that time frame, which was when all this was designed. And as time goes on, we see the cost of everything going up higher and higher. So it is always fun to see that in the game as well. All right, let's get over to our D6 stats and see how well I may or may not have done. I'm sure that there's going to be some weapons I have listed as forward facing that are actually rear facing. So I wasn't thinking about those when I was putting them in. I was just trying to make sure I had everything in there correctly as I was working on this late at night after I'm done with work. So hopefully I've got things sitting correctly. And if not, we will change it on the fly like we normally do to try and get things working correctly. All right, so looking at the Stuka here. Um, Starfighter scale, length, like I said before, in one of the other videos, I think I might have to take that out because I really don't know how long to really put this at. We do have the crew of one, passengers of none, 45 kilograms for our cargo capacity, and of course, it's going to have a full coverage. Our cost is still being listed as the 6,156,000 seabills, and I still have not uh, done anything with the maneuverability. So far everything's been really the 2D plus two. I really don't know. I'm working at times on trying to figure things out, and of course because I'm scattered between different things and then home life, really have not tried to come or worked on coming up with a formula for what should be done for maneuverability. It needs to do something with the weight, the space, speed. Um, and of course, anytime that we have a write up that if it does say it is maneuverable, more maneuverable or whatever than others, it should probably get a little bit of a bonus. But exactly how to properly put that in there, I'm just not 100% certain how to go about doing that so far. So I do apologize that a lot of them are the same maneuverability that we've been seeing. This has an overthrust of 7. That's how I'm getting our space speed of 7, which then comes roughly about an atmospheric speed of 1,000 kilometers an hour. We have a body strength of 7D because of the weight, being 100 tons. It's a 7D plus 1, and it has 250 armor points on board the fighter. All right, so I did change this up here. So we do have one medium laser in the nose that's forward facing. Fire control is 2D, and of course, it's doing 5D damage. Shoot, and then I'm messing all this stuff up, and this is where I'm kind of working on it, and I'm grabbing from here and from there, which is nice and easy to do. But then I slip up on some of the other things I'm supposed to be trying to do. All right, we have an SRM 4, and that is actually in the nose. As I'm trying to make sure I get all the weapon systems in here, and then I kind of forget exactly, where do we have that? Um, okay, because I even have that. It's got the 50 reloads because that's what it's got listed in the book. So it's got a couple tons of ammo in there. And it is doing about 70 damage if we're firing all of them. Again, I'm leaving that in there that way because if you want to play it that you're just shooting one missile at a time, that's fine. Uh, but if you just want to say, hey, you're firing the whole system out and you're firing all four, that's fine too. Depending on how you want to play it and trying to leave it kind of open in those regards. We do have the four large lasers. These are forward facing, these are on the wings. Um, why don't I put down wing mounted? All right. So we have front wing mounted, and because their fire length is large lasers, I believe that's what gets us our 9D. A single large laser, as I flip through my pages here and bring up my cheat sheet. Let's see. The large laser was, I'm looking on the wrong side here, 6D. So with all four of them, 6 then takes us up to a 9D for fire length. And then we have our LRM-20. So that's going to do 21D worth of damage if you're shooting it all. And we have 18 reloads on board. So that's a very scary thought. And of course, last but not least, I did have this changed before we started recording here. We have the two medium lasers, which are fire linked in the rear arc at 60 damage. So a very impressive and scary fighter, including the fact that it's actually got rear-facing weapons for the pilot to help deter people from trying to engage in a dogfight and sneaking up in the rear where quite often most aerospace fighters or most craft do not have weapons. Um, so it is kind of nice to see that, giving the pilot a little extra help there to try and keep someone from shooting them down from behind. So, with that being said, thank you so very much for joining me today. It's wonderful having you here. Hope you're doing well, and I will see you in the next video.